Hey guys, I am Whitney Burke. I have been a distributor with LipSense for about a year and a half now. So I am here to give you all the little tips and secrets I know to help you troubleshoot if you're having problems with your LipSense and maybe give you the longest wear possible. So I'm going to be using a color that I think a lot of people probably struggle with today, and it's actually one of my favorite colors. It's actually my best-selling color, but it is First Love, and that is this nude color. So I'll go over with you why I think people struggle with it, what you can do to fix the issues, and what you can do to get the most successful wear out of your LipSense. So this is going to be a pretty long video, be warned, but I want to be as thorough as possible, and I just want to help you have success because I love this so much. Like, I just want everybody to experience how awesome it really is. So what causes a lot of problems is that people wake up, they wash their face, they do their makeup, and then they apply their LipSense. And sometimes people even like prep their lips with some kind of moisturizer or something and then apply LipSense. And that is not what you do. Here's what you do. You are supposed to clean your lips before applying LipSense, and you just clean them using water. So you want to apply LipSense to clean dry lips. So my favorite thing to use to clean my lips is just a washcloth. So what I do is I wet down about half of the washcloth and then I leave the other half dry so I can actually dry my lips off after. So I'm going to clean my lips, and you can see like I really clean them. I don't just glaze over them. A lot of people will use like a cotton ball and just go over them with a little bit of water, but you're really not getting them very clean when you do that. So I really like to use a washcloth and make sure I get everywhere and clean them, and then you'll notice your lips are damp because you just used water to clean them. So flip it over to the dry side of the washcloth and dry them off really good. Okay, now another little tip, try not to lick your lips. A lot of us lick our lips and we don't even realize we're doing it. It's just like what we naturally do, kind of a natural little habit we might have. So try not to lick your lips because the saliva can get on your lips and that will affect your wear time of LipSense. So after cleaning and drying your lips, make sure they're nice and dry and don't lick your lips. Okay, so I'm going to be using First Love today. I love First Love. It translates differently on different people depending on your skin tone. I personally have a really pinky skin tone, and it translates as almost a peachy nude on me, which I love. Some people it looks more brown on, some people it looks more pink on. My mom is more olive complected and she pulls more pink from the First Love. So it just depends on your natural complexion, the way the color translates on you. But I do think it's beautiful on most people. So First Love is a matte color. You know, matte lips are really timeless and in style all the time. But I think probably the mattes, to me, in my opinion, are the hardest to apply because you have to be careful not to get streaky and you have to apply in really thin layers. And I think the mattes take a little bit longer to dry than the shimmery colors from LipSense. Some people get longer wear time out of the mattes than the shimmers. I don't really see a difference either way for me. But yeah, I think people struggle with the mattes. Another thing people struggle with, not only First Love, but with all nudes, they get it and they're like, I mean, have you ever heard a woman say, I can never find a nude lipstick that looks good on me that doesn't wash me out? Well, let me tell you part of that reason. So when you see celebrities on the red carpet with smoky eyes and nude lips, they have their lips lined almost all the time. You don't notice the line because obviously you're not this close to the celebrity, but I promise you they usually have their lips lined and defined in order not to look washed out and dead on the red carpet. So I love lining my lips. And with First Love, you can use a variety of colors. If you want just something really soft, like really subtle definition, you can use a color like Praline Rose. If you want a lot of definition, you can use a bolder color. I'm going to kind of go with a happy medium color and line with Sheer Berry. And I'm actually using LipSense to line my lips with. So I'm not using liner sense, this is LipSense. So I'm just going to shake this up a little at first, and I'm going to apply this and line my lips first. And this is just to give me definition, to keep from looking washed out with a nude lip. So I have a mirror here for backup because I'm making this in a computer and can't see the greatest anyway, but looking at a computer presents all new challenges. So I like to use 2 layers when I line. That's just so it will be super duper nice and defined and also even. Okay. I'm getting a notification on my computer that my computer is about to die. So I'm going to stop this video, I'm going to plug in my computer, and I will be right back. Okay, we're back. So I just lined my lips because I'm going to use First Love, which is in the nude tone, and lining your lips can really help you from like looking washed out or pale or dead or any of those things when wearing a nude lip color. So I just lined my lips using Sheer Berry, and this is what it looks like right now. No, it looks like a mess right now, but by the time I get on 3 layers of First Love, I promise it'll look pretty good. So let's move into the First Love. So you know you need to shake your LipSense before applying. The matte formulas, I recommend just giving them a little bit of an extra shake because they are a little bit thicker, which makes it hard to apply in really thin layers. But you can do it and you get a beautiful result when you do. When applying matte formulas, it's also really important to follow basic LipSense application rules and to go in one direction when you're applying and not back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, because then you'll get it a little uneven and you can struggle trying to get it even between every layer and end up with a mess. So just lay 1 layer down and leave it, and by the time you get 3 layers it'll look pretty good. If not, you can touch up the small spots that it might be a little uneven. When I apply, I have a little bit bigger lips. They're not huge, but they're full. So when I apply, it might look like on camera I'm going over the same place over and over again, but I'm actually applying like to the inner part of my lip, then the middle, then the outside, just so you know. So once it's all shaken up, we will start applying. You want to keep your lips apart when you're applying. I always joke that rule number 1 in applying LipSense is if you don't look a little bit silly applying, you're probably not doing it right. So if you look like an idiot, that's a good thing. So there is layer 1 on my bottom lip. Okay, so there's my first layer. You want to make sure you give that plenty of time to dry between layers. I always err on the side of safety here. I definitely don't want to rush it because if your last layer isn't dry when you move on to the next layer, that's what causes peeling. And that's because your last layer wasn't dried and set before you layered more on top of it. So the same thing would happen if you painted your walls and you started applying the second coat before letting the first dry. So just make sure you give it plenty of dry time. You'll also notice when I put my LipSense on, I applied it over the line I had done on my lip. That's what helps the line to look subtle. If you only apply LipSense inside where you lined your lip, you're probably going to end up looking a little bit intense with your lip line, and it's going to be not so subtle. So just apply whatever color you're applying all over your lips on top of that. So let's do the second layer exactly like we did the first. Okay, so there is 2 layers of first lip. So even more so, as far as letting it dry with between layers, give it plenty of dry time on the second layer and even more dry time on the third layer, because at that point you have more product on your lips. So say you let it dry for about 15 seconds your first layer, maybe give 25 seconds your second layer and 30 seconds for your third layer, or whatever. Those are just guesses. Depending on the climate you live in, depending on the humidity, things like that, you just want to make sure your lips are good and dry. Because if you take time and apply LipSense properly, it's probably going to last for you all day long. So might take a little more time to get ready, but it's totally worth it if you don't have to reapply throughout the day. So once that is good and dry, you can actually kind of feel it feels smoother when it's dry. My corners are still a little bit wet because it feels kind of tacky and sticky when it's wet. So that's a good way to tell. Of course, that could also be where I'm drooling. When you keep your mouth apart, you drool. It just happens unless you do the Cineslurp. Cineslurp goes something like this. It's a really attractive motion, so you might want to practice it for successful LipSense application. Okay, let's move on to the third and final layer. The third layer, I'm going to look in the mirror because it's clearer than looking at my computer screen, and I want to make sure this is perfect. Looks pretty good. Okay, so that last and final layer with the Cineslurp, I'm going to give it even more dry time to make sure it is perfect and we don't have issues. You also want to make sure that you kind of keep your lips stretched out because if you apply with your lips together like this, you can end up with like creasing where you didn't apply evenly throughout your whole lip. It's a lot easier to apply evenly when you do your lips like this. So again, looking like an idiot, probably a good thing. So I'm just making sure this last layer is nice and dry because like I said, it's worth the time right now to leave it and make sure it's good and dry. I think the matte colors definitely take longer to dry. If you have Bella, I let Bella dry forever. So, but you'll get better wear time out of them if each layer is dry before you move on to the next layer, and if everything is completely dry before you apply gloss. So this is the third layer. I have the most product on my lips now, so I'm just giving it plenty of time. Like I said, I err on the side of safety. Probably doesn't need this much dry time, but if it means I don't have to reapply, okay. So it feels pretty dry. So then I'm going to apply my gloss. This is kind of a exclusive Whitney tip. I don't think anyone else is weird enough to do this with their gloss, but I had gotten a cold sore on my lips and I didn't want to contaminate my gloss. So while I had the cold sore, I started taking my gloss and just rolling it on my finger like this, and then applying the gloss from my finger to my lips, because our glosses have a moisturizing shea butter base and it just gives you a really, really soft and smooth application. And if you have too much gloss on your finger, then just like rub it into your skin like lotion. It has a shea butter base, big deal. But for whatever reason, when I initially apply my LipSense, I like applying gloss with my finger, even though that's a little weird. You can totally use the applicator, and I use the applicator when I reapply throughout the day. No product on the applicator. But I like using my finger. I don't know. It just gives me a good gloss application. So that's my tip for gloss. So with LipSense, you are going to reapply gloss throughout the day as your lips feel dry, and when you eat. Well, actually before you eat, because the gloss will protect your lip color from the oils in your food. So when you first start using LipSense, like when I first started using LipSense, I used more gloss than I had ever used in my entire life. Like seriously, I thought I was going to go through a tube of gloss in 2 weeks. And that's because my lips were really dry. But let me tell you why my lips were dry. So in my life, before I discovered the glorious thing that is LipSense, I used waxy products on my lips and things that had a wax base. So I'm a recovering chapstick addict, if we're being really honest. And chapstick has a wax base. And what that does is it kind of inhibits your body's natural exfoliation process. So your body naturally exfoliates. It naturally sheds dead skin cells, and you know, the amount of time it takes varies depending on the way God made you, but it's a natural process your body goes through. So the problem is when you add lots of wax to your lips, those dead skin cells will get kind of impacted and prohibit your body from exfoliating the way it should, which causes dryness, which causes you to apply more chapstick, which is the whole problem. So LipSense is lead-free and wax-free. So since it's wax-free, it allows your body to exfoliate naturally like it should. So when you first start using LipSense, you might experience that your lips feel a little bit dry for a few days. And again, the exfoliation, I call it the exfoliation phase. My exfoliation phase lasted 4 days and I thought I was going to die. It was major first world problems for me, but once I got through, my lips were healthy and awesome because my body was allowed to do what it naturally does to promote healthy skin cells. So A lot of people experience that in the beginning with LipSense. So a lot of times in the very beginning of you wearing LipSense, you could be doing everything right and follow all the instructions and tips I gave you and still experience peeling. Well, if you look really close, it's not the color peeling off, it's actually the skin on your lip. And that's a good thing because you want your body to exfoliate. So that's why I usually recommend starting with a more natural color LipSense, because if you start with a bright and beautiful color like blue red, which you totally can, it's going to be a lot more obvious when your skin is peeling off, because half of your skin is going to be nude and half of it's going to be bright red from the blue red. So if you choose a color that's closer to your natural lip color, it'll be a lot more painless going through that exfoliation phase and going in public at the same time. So those are just a few of my tips. I hope this was helpful for you. Sorry for the ding. This is real life. And just let me know if you have any questions. You can feel free to message me. I will link my Facebook page below, and I'm happy to help you get the most successful wear possible out of your LipSense. All right, bye guys!